I was introduced to porn when I was 8 years old, and I had been smoking weed since I was 14. When I was 27 is when I realized I have to love myself. This is who I am, this is where I come from, this is how we live, and this is what people don't talk about, but is happening.
You've talked about emotions. What emotions are going through you as you were writing and inspired you to write?
I'm lonely because I'm a person who values authenticity. And in the world today, you find that many people, not most people are not authentic. They show up with masks everywhere. So when you try to be yourself, you feel like you're a rebel and you're not going with the conformist narrative that is everywhere. So the emotions are basically, I feel like I'm estranged from the masses. Not that I don't like it, because I am myself. I'm authentic. I won't present to you something that I am hiding from you. I'll give you everything that I am, and in a nice way, not like a rebellious attitude kind of way where you are talking like unapologetically you. No, I'm being me as I am, and what I want from others. The reason why I'm lonely is because I see masks everywhere. I don't see the authentic person. There is a lot of shame involved in being authentic. People fear letting themselves be vulnerable. Understand? They don't want some parts of them to be seen. And that closes away some part of experience in life. Like you want to experience the fullness of life, but you feel like somebody is going to judge you, being stigmatized and everything. So that's loneliness is there. They say if you see clearly, you will walk alone for a long time before you meet someone who also sees clearly like you. Yeah, so instead of wallowing in depression or anything, let me write it down and let the world hear that there's one like me, so the other one can meet me and we talk, we experience authenticity. Loneliness in authenticity is solitude. You are not lonely like you're deprived of company or anything, but you are alone and you feel you embrace that solitude, something that most people are running away from. Like it's like they have demons inside them and they want somebody else to affirm that those demons are valid for them to be okay. They say like even the other person is going through the same thing, so it's okay for me to go through it. So you're just tolerating like some mental health issues because it's happening to everybody in the world, instead of going into yourself, like studying, observing those emotions and loving them. You understand? Because for me, love is what neutralizes all negativity. That's why authenticity requires self-love. I can't love you if I'm not authentic. My cup is not overflowing with love. So whatever love I'm giving you, if I'm not authentic, is something as depressing. It's laced with depressions, and that is the energy I'm passing to you. So when I'm authentic, I'm myself, I'm giving out, my cup is already full, I love myself, so I'm giving out genuine love. And if it's not love because there's light and darkness, I'm giving out genuine vibes, whether it's dark or light. I'm not negating anything. There's nothing I'm running away from. Can you be authentic in a crowd? Yes, you can. But you don't go searching for authenticity outside you, in another person. No, you be authentic wherever you are. So you speak when you're led, and you move when you're led, because that is the authenticity. You don't speak when you are triggered by something. You understand that trigger in you. Yeah.
Can you love yourself and be lonely at the same time?
Yeah, it's a process, because the question you're asking me covers the process of self-love. It's like today you realize, like me when I was 27 is when I realized I have to love myself. After 27, before I was a neurotic, I had chronic anxiety, I was depressed, and I had been submerged I was lost, drowned in a lot of addictions in the world. And whatever way I tried to get out from these things, I couldn't meet them. They couldn't add up to anything. I would still be in the same situation. You understand? So however much I tried to explain to somebody what's going on with me, that other person could not understand, because it's not for them to understand, it's for me to understand myself. So the moment I realized I have to love myself with all this anxiety, all this depression, all these addictions, things started changing. I realized there's another way to view life. You understand? Because when you love something, that negative part of it, whether it's an addiction, you don't, let's say you're addicted to sex or smoking or weed, you don't put yourself down because you are in that addiction. You accept yourself. It is in the spectrum of what can be done. Accept it as it's something that can be done. It's possible. So since it's possible, I am experiencing it from the universe, wherever it came from. So love it as that. Love yourself with all those maladies that you have, all those maladaptions. And eventually because I told you it's a process, you don't just love yourself today and you realize that totality of I'm free. No, it takes time of self-love. You cultivate yourself and you realize those habits go without you even realizing that they are gone, because your heart and your self-talk, your emotions are balanced and positive, and they are not running away from the darkness. Because when you love yourself, you will not feel judged by what you're telling the other person. You are sharing your experiences from within, your darkness. You are giving it out in love. You understand? You are telling them, I also go through this, but I overcame it through self-love. So that love grows, and those habits, they just, like a lotus flower in mud, they just fall off and the flower remains white the same way. So love is the path to authenticity. No matter how you feel you're messed up mentally or emotionally, just love yourself from day one. Give it time and you'll see the difference. Accept yourself, self-acceptance, total radical self-acceptance. You understand? Like no one can understand you better than yourself. Because when I was anxious and depression, I was searching for people to tell me what's wrong with me, to affirm that everybody else is going through that. But the moment you start loving yourself, you don't need those people to justify for you, because it's your life. You understand? And you are the one experiencing that stuff. Sindio? So deal with it. Those are your demons. And they are your demons you're running away from towards the angels. You understand? Because you are seeking light, but you are ignoring the darkness. Yet they are all within you. You understand? They are one. So you can't become whole if you are avoiding the unconscious. Sindio? So the unconscious, the darkness is also part of you. Accept it, love it. Don't let anyone prescribe a memorandum of moralities for you to follow. You can't be. You're not a machine that came with a manual. In this world, you are you. So don't expect to be understood by another person. And the fact that you can have your own thoughts. Why do you have to depend on another person's thoughts? Like, why do you have your own thoughts? Love them. Sindio? Yeah.
You said you realized at 27 you needed to love yourself.
Yeah.
What brought on that realization?
I went to rehab. I was smoking a lot of weed, and I experienced a psychotic episode. I was taken to rehab, and I had been smoking weed for since I was 14 till 27. And all this came up out of experiences that spiraled from childhood. Because childhood, I got into porn addiction very young. I was introduced to porn when I was 8 years old. Then I got issues relating with other kids, especially girls and everything. I couldn't understand myself, because this porn was in my head, and I had skipped a period of development so that I could relate with my peers clearly. Understand? So I got into loneliness, a lot of anxiety. To quell this anxiety, I started smoking weed, drugs, and everything. And most of my teenage years, up to 27 years, was just like a ball of depression and anxiety moving in the world, not knowing where it's going. So when I was taken to rehab is when I started counseling and therapy. And then I realized I have not been loving myself. I've just been questioning why everything is wrong with me and everything is right with everybody else. And I realized also that however much I tried to explain this to the people who are close to me, they could never understand it, because they have their own life and their own experiences, the same way I have my own life and my own experiences. They could never understand it. So I realized it is up to me to accept myself and move. And the reason why I told you not with a rebellious attitude, even though that is the starting point of self-life. You start being yourself unapologetically, because that you're dealing with attitudes and you don't know where they come from. Because those are the things that make you, those attitudes, those stigmas are what make you mentally sick, because you want to meet standards that are not for your moral code that is written inside you. Understand? So I was first unapologetically me. I did whatever needed to be done for that situation to absolve itself on my terms. So that therapy in rehab and a few books that I read, they gave me that path to self-love. And it's been from 27 years to right now I'm 36, almost 10 years. It's been a journey. And I find myself, I can sit in a room with many people and not feel alone or anxious or not feel obligated to go to say something to be understood. No, I can sit in silence and be in harmony with myself. And it's taken time. And that time is a must that you have to go through it. You can't skip it. You have to love it. If you come for me for advice for things that I went through, like I used to masturbate, I used to smoke weed, I used to do this, I tell you, love that thing. Love yourself. That is you. You understand? Nobody is going, if you depend on somebody, the church will tell you masturbation is wrong. Your neighbor is telling you you're smoking too much weed. Your brothers, they tell you you are very lazy. You're not, stuff like that. No one will understand you because people have their own expectation. So you love yourself no matter where, however you are, however deep in the abyss you feel you have been thrown. Start with self-love and move consciously. You will find yourself that your self-talk changes. You don't condemn yourself every day, even though you don't even feel guilty. And once that guilt goes away, you will feel free, because you're not depending on anybody to validate anything that you do. And it's not about a moral code or anything. It's just about being you as a person, as an authentic person who doesn't want to run away from his being. And from that ground where you are, like, at first you'll have to be unapologetically yourself. That self-love will bring out something else, the real you. It will bring you back to your soul, because the reason why you're feeling all this ache is because you feel like you're going against your soul. Understand? But essentially the soul is telling you, this is your path. You experience it, accept it, then we'll move to the next phase. Otherwise, if you start running to doctors and everything around, your soul it's just the same lesson, but you have to learn it. So it will take time, but you have to learn it. And the journey is very nice, because you see the progress from where you moved from. Yeah.
You mentioned demons.
Yeah.
How do you deal with demons?
You observe. There's a saying that goes that give the demon nothing and it will have nothing to fight against. So your point is, the reason why people are going around asking for help and everything, they're trying to fight those demons. And the war is not theirs. Demons are unseen. They're your anxieties, your mental, all those mental health issues. And anything that keeps you away from your clarity is a demon. And it's not up to you to fight it because you cannot see it. You understand? It is fighting you from a higher level. You understand? So you have to observe. You say, I don't know anything. Whatever comes, comes. Whatever goes, goes. I'm not going to run around chasing what I cannot see. So it's all about relaxation and self-knowledge, being self-awareness. You are aware what makes sense. After therapy, I was aware these thoughts come, these emotions come. You understand? But I don't have to identify with them. I only have to acknowledge them for them to know that I see them arising within me. But I don't identify with them. I don't react to them. I let them go. I flow. And you realize with time, all these things come, but you are untouchable. They are there, but they don't touch you. They come and go. And eventually, those demons, when they realize there's nothing when they come, there's nothing you do and you don't fight them, they get tired because you are replacing their space that they used to occupy with your positivity, and they will diminish. Raona, they will diminish because there's nothing to fight. And the fighting is, when you say someone is controlled by his demons, is because his ego is trying to fight for himself. Yet, if there are demons and angels, it is the job of angels to fight the demons, not you. You are just an observer, a spectator. You are the field of observation, and everything that is happening through you is not you. Your soul is so free from all these anxieties and everything, and they are not there. Even however much time seems hard, whether there is no money or anything, trust me, you can say that you want 10 million shillings, but God is going to give you only 50 bob per day for like 10 years, which means you'll never lack and you'll never have that 10 million. But if you look at those 10 years that have passed, you've never slept outside, you've never stayed hungry, and you've always paid your bills. God gives you enough for you to move to the next level. Understand? And these things are serious. I mean, an African setting, Bana. People talk of superstition and witchcraft and all this stuff. They make sense. It's only that people think that modern medicine can rule away spiritual dimension of diseases and everything. No, modern medicine only rehabilitates. It keeps you in a manageable state. You understand? But if you go beyond that modern medicine, they say they give you medication for depression and anxiety, but you decide, let me start meditation. Let me start knowing myself, watching my emotions, watching my thoughts, watching my body, listening to myself. You realize that you are calibrating yourself to become something else. And at the end of it all, you realize that as much as you're taking medication, that is not where the disease is. The disease is in you not being mindful about yourself, not accepting yourself. Understand? Yeah, so these things are there. Easy people, we're in Africa. We had our own spirituality. You can't nullify that. And there is also Western medication. But to know yourself is to go back to your community and say, this is who I am, this is where I come from, this is how we live, and this is what people don't talk about, but is happening. And you have to know that it's about knowing yourself. If you don't know yourself, the world is going to tell you who you are. And that's a treacherous road for you. Yeah. So you have to know yourself.
I'm glad you brought up medications.
Yeah.
Can we talk about opioids?
Opioids. Personally, I use them because I'm given a prescription, but I don't like the feeling that it gives me. It makes me feel dissociated with the society. But opioids like benzexol and some mental, I'm currently taking medication for mental health for my anxiety and depression. But they work. They are like a shortcut to stabilize you. And when you're stabilized is when you come to that clarity that you are actually a spirit, not a body. The medication doesn't tend to your spirit. The medication tends to your body. It manipulates your body to stabilization. But the core of the disease is in the spirit, is in your mental attitude, your emotions, and those things that are not tangible by the hand. So that is where self-awareness comes from. But opioids, we use opioids for anxiety and depression and many other mental health issues. So they're prescription drugs. You can't just go and take them in the pharmacy like that without a prescription. Yeah, many people abuse them. This piece is mostly about authenticity, and the reason why it's called the free, the authentic, and the playful is how I observed how children, when they play, they don't pretend. They are free to be who they are from within. If you hurt them, they'll show you their heart. They won't mask it. They will cry. So that kind of freedom, that authenticity is what I'm fighting for as an adult, to be able to express and be engaging with my emotions as they are in my maturity. So this piece is all about freedom and authenticity and an encouragement for playfulness as you are. Even if the playfulness as an adult seems like a dangerous thing, know that you're walking your path of truth and you can't be touched, because that's your path. You can't be touched in truth, whether dangerous or not dangerous. You must play to be yourself. And that, in essence, it's encouraging. It's supposed to tell that person who has had this thing that it is okay to delve into your unconscious, to walk into the darkness. So this is a go-ahead that you can walk into the darkness without being cautious or despondent or depressed or afraid. Because as you know, the light is total, so the darkness too must be total. So if you understand light, you have understood darkness. So you have no reason to shun away or run away from your darkness. Be playful with it. Yeah. Let me read it. The free, the authentic, and the playful. When deliberate intention is lost in standard and control, the sublimity of art is lost. Without play, we can never hear genuine laughs or see glimmering eyes or unconscious smiles. Freedom celebrates rawness. It sees beauty and order in the seemingly chaotic. It knows that origins are rugged and enduring, simple and reaching, piercing the very depths of all refined attitudes. Them that let go speak volumes to the manicured mind by simply being. They exist like they are riding the wind and swimming the earth. They are in their element. They see sanity where others scream madness. To them, life thrives where others' noses are high or heads stooped low in despondency. There is no path they shun, no descent they can't rise from. They don't have spirit, they are spirit. It is them that truly live and play with the very serious and dangerous. And in their darings, they emerge heroic, unsung or sung. They are free, floating in adversity. West, north, south, all their directions head east towards the sun. Everything they partake is bound by a spell of authenticity. Home is everywhere they are. Seekers seek them. They speak in action and silence. Their voices quiet all dissonance, within and without. Their presence inspires tact, compassion, and comfort. And when they laugh, the fool gets wisdom. Their pose and motion are sights to move with, for their gestures are life-giving. No void exists in them, no interval to reach, for the truth holds their hands like children and shows them around. They live, they laugh, they love, without notions of meaning, for meaningful is their being. They are the free, the authentic, the playful. Have you met them? That's the question I leave to the audience. If you've met a person like this one, you feel a certain kind of vibe. You feel a vibe of security, even though they don't promise worldly or conventional types of security or success. You don't feel any anxiety around them because they are still, they are not moved like by attitudes and emotions. They are settled in their core. So these kinds of people are like, they don't search for meaning because what they are is already meaningful. They know that they are meaningful where they are. So they embody meaning. That's why I call them the free, the authentic, and the playful. They play, and their play is dangerous to the conventional eye. It's like watching a movie, Lord of the Rings. It's like Gandalf, what's his name? Lord of the Rings, the guy who goes and kills a dragon in a very deep black hole, and he comes back whiter and glowing. They don't draw a line between seen and unseen, conscious or unconscious, dark or light. No, they are the whole thing. They are one with everything. There's nowhere they can't go. They're in place. They're never out of order. That authenticity makes someone become like a mystic. You move through cosmic alignment. You get?
Have you met them?
I've met them in books, and there's a few instances where I feel like I've met one of them, but they are very elusive. They come once in your life and you never see them again. You understand? But the moment they come in your life, you will never forget that person. You get like, hey, I remember this guy. Like they came at the right moment to tell you that one pertinent thing about life, and then they disappear like that. You can never make sense about the situation and how you needed that guy to come in and tell you what you needed to know at that point in your life. As in, they hit the core of your soul when they speak, even their gestures, with the way they look at you. They don't even have to say a word. Somebody just looks at you and you remember that look for the rest of your life. And it gives you hope, like you are not alone because this guy sees me. He knows what I'm going through. Everybody else, I'm trying to explain to them, but they don't. But this guy saw me and I saw him. I saw his eyes. He didn't speak, he didn't do anything, but I can never forget that look. These guys are very tough. They're alchemists, man. They're mystics. And you look at what they face. The reason why I call them lions sometimes is because they face the whole world order against themselves and they move through it. Wherever you take them, they're not activists, but life will take them to hard places and they will emerge as heroes, sung or unsung. They're that type of people. And I've met very few, most in books, but in life, there's only one person that gave me a look and I saw this guy sees me.